That movie sucked.
I kind of liked it.
Movie Night Crew Network.
Harry, just go down to the lake tomorrow, right? Stick your head in. Yell at the mer people to give back whatever they've nicked and see if they chuck it out. Best you can do, mate. What's up, potheads? Welcome to the Restricted section, a show in which a bunch of nerds with potty mouths reread the Harry Potter series for the umpteenth time and discuss the way the story and its themes have stayed with a generation into adulthood. Thank you so much for listening. If you haven't done the reading, don't worry, we did it for you. Here's what we're talking about today. Chapter 26, The Second Task. Right, so it is the second task of the Triwizard Tournament, and Harry has to fetch his Wheezy from the bottom of the lake. Is Harry prepared for the second task well ahead of time? No. Does he eventually figure it out? No. Does he make it happen all by himself? Absolutely not. Does he get bonus points for being a headstrong idiot? You know it. Welcome to the Restricted section, where we will kidnap your most beloved friends and put them somewhere they can't breathe.
Unless you join Patreon. I'm sorry.
I'm feeling jovial because I'm joined today by my true blue best good buddy, Andrew. Say hello to the listeners, Andrew.
Hello.
And I'm incredibly excited because this week's special guest is the indefatigable Taylor from Of the Eldest Gods. That's all I'm giving you for her introduction. You know Taylor by now. Come on, say hello to the listeners, Taylor.
Hello, I still exist. Maybe.
Yes, we're
if
so
you
proud
join
of
the
you.
Patreon, I won't come kidnap your child.
Our promise to you.
So if you join the Patreon, no kidnapping.
Now, we have no intention of kidnapping any children, but we definitely won't kidnap your children if you do join the Patreon.
There are moments where I'm like, if we had a producer on the line right now, they'd be like, stop, legal doesn't like that. But we don't have legal. I'm the producer and everything is chaos. So we have like a lot of announcements and I'm not sure where to begin. So let's start at the beginning. Happy birthday, Taylor.
Oh, yeah. My birthday exists. I am another year older. I am a whole 24.
Yeah, your birthday's tomorrow.
Today.
Damn it. I get you and Leela
Leela
backwards.
Leela and I are back to back. I get
So
it.
your birthday's today.
Okay, so what day is it? It's today.
So happy freaking birthday. That leads me into my next announcement, which is happy birthday, Leela.
Bow, 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 bow.
Yeah, I would have invited her on this episode, but I had to have her on last week to chat with Madeline Bundy from Puffs. So happy birthday, Leela. We love you, babe. Her birthday is tomorrow. Also, happy birthday. I'm almost done, I swear to God. Happy birthday to Brooke.
Woo!
Brooke's birthday was this past weekend, and she is doing great. I don't know. It was like a weird... She's doing
I'm sure
great.
she's doing fine. For God's sake, Brooke, please be doing fine.
Her birthday was 3 days ago. That's like the worst time of year when your birthday was 3 days ago. But happy birthday to all of my beloved Pisces.
I don't understand the month of February. There's always so many birthdays for being the shortest month.
Okay, so 2 minus 9 is -7, which
It's
is
May.
September. Wait.
No, it would be May. Because 12 minus 7 is 5.
Is May, so the weather gets nice, you're feeling sexy, you
It's
fuck your
springtime,
spouse, you make a baby. That baby's born in February and is a Pisces.
That's what happened with my nephew, yeah. His birthday's 2 days after mine. I was a test tube baby.
Oh, interesting.
And 2 months early, so I
Whoa.
should have been born in April.
Oh my God. Do you ever think about, like, what if you were an Aries or whatever? I think that's an Aries or a Taurus.
I can honestly say I have never thought that in my life.
I'm not talking to you. But Pisces are like a combination of all of the previous horoscope signs, zodiac signs. So you do have some Aries and some Taurus in you.
Theoretically, yes.
Okay, we're moving briskly on because we also have another announcement. It's really hard to say that It's not as easy as stacks on stacks on stacks. Announcement what number are we on? 4?
4, I think.
This is our 100th episode of the restricted section.
Oh my gosh.
There were so many coincidences. The stars align. Tina and I got into a PM like 3 months ago. And I was like, oh shit, it's coming out on my birthday. And she was like, oh shit, it's the 100th episode. Oh shit. The second task happens on February 24th.
Yeah,
and it was just like boom, boom, boom.
That's our final announcement that the second task canonically takes place on February 24th, which is tomorrow, which is Leela's birthday, which is one day after Taylor's birthday, which is one day after our 100th episode. Did we plan any of this? No. No, we didn't plan any of it. It just happened because the gods have shone their bright light down upon us.
See, if you wouldn't have taken that break,
I know.
this wouldn't have happened.
I know.
So,
I think about that all the time.
Thank the gods.
If that isn't motivation to get my pals out there listening to take a break, I don't know what is. Because someday you too will have a 100th episode birthday second task bonanza.
Can that be the title? I know theoretically it's supposed to be the title of the chapter, but...
I'm too lawful, dude. I can't do it.
Our 100th episode birthday extravaganza spectaculare. Yes.
Yeah, so all these many things, we're celebrating so much this week, which is why I'm drinking red wine. It's not very celebratory, but I had champagne last weekend and I'm going to have champagne again this weekend. So I can't also do champagne in the middle. It's going to reduce my, it's going to heighten my tolerance.
Oh, yes. I was like...
That's how booze works.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I mean, it is, but not really over the course of like 1 week.
I don't think the week is gonna ruin your booze intake.
I actually I was like worried that I would like lose my taste for like brute. If I have it 3 times in 1 week, like I fucking love bubbly alcohol, but I was worried that even I would like not want it by this weekend. But I'm making a whole batch cocktail for Leela and Brooke and Taylor's combo birthday party. So we're talking about the second task today, homies.
This is all I wanted to talk about in this book.
So this is a pretty long chapter. A lot of stuff happens, and it's extremely actiony when you get to the end, the actual task part. It's extremely actiony. And so I was thinking about how in actiony chapters, it turns into me reading what happens, and there's not a lot of room for commentary because Harry's just doing stuff and stuff is happening, and there's not like a ton of room for commentary. So whenever something happens, especially once we get to the second task and there's like not much to say about it, we're gonna rate every single one of Harry's moves on a scale of 1 to 10. Everything he does, we're gonna rate it on a scale of 1 to 10 to spice it up a little bit. Okay.
All right. We can play this game.
You can't think about it, though. You gotta just give it.
Should we keep a running tally? Yeah, if we do them all out of 10, I want to know the running average that Harry had, and then which of us thought Harry did better and which of us thought Harry did worse.
Okay, I can do that. I can do that in post. I'll do that while I'm editing. I'll make a pie chart.
Oh, good.
I don't know if a pie chart's appropriate.
That's not the right chart, but I like the effort, though. I like the effort.
Yeah, pie charts are just prettier.
They are.
So the chapter starts with Harry, Ron, and Hermione in Charms class. Harry's sharing the events of the previous chapter, which, as a reminder, were fucking hilarious and incredibly dramatic. Obviously, the conversation devolves into, was it Snape who put my name in the Goblet of Fire?
At this point in the books, it starts to get to that, like, and it's going to stay on this path a long time, but it gets to that point where anything happens. A donut falls off of a plate in the middle of the Great Hall. Why did Snape throw that donut, said Ron. Snape doesn't even touch donuts, said Hermione. I think Snape touched a donut to eat one time, says Harry, and so I think Ron's right, that donut was thrown by Snape.
It's like the Filch Peeves thing.
Yep,
Everything
exactly.
is Peeves if Filch sees something wrong. If something is wrong, it is always Snape to the boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
Well, and in fairness, if something goes wrong, Snape's first reaction has and will always be Harry. So, like, I get it. Like, Harry kind of comes to that honestly with, letting Ron always lead him to it being Snape, but it's definitely mutual,
It's true. Okay, so here's the crux of the first half of this chapter. How does one breathe underwater for an hour?
Very carefully. Is the answer.
Very carefully. This is a great example of why they should not have let a 14-year-old participate, no matter what a judgmental old cup said about it.
Yeah, well, either that or this is one of those areas where, I don't know about y'all, but I was really surprised, especially the first time reading through it, that this was an issue. Right? Because it seems like such a classic, spell to have. I can breathe underwater. And, there is an obvious answer, which makes it really weird that they have so much difficulty finding said obvious answer.
Okay, so you're talking about, the gillyweed is the obvious answer?
Well, I mean, we know of at least 3 very viable answers.
I feel like the bubblehead one is probably the most obvious.
So the transfiguration, I'm glad they didn't really consider that because they have never transfigured humans before. And even Crumb, who's much older than Harry, has a hard time with it. The bubble-headed charm was the thing to look for.
And they're in Charms class when they're talking about it.
They're fucking in Charms class.
And that's why 2 out of the 4 do it.
The gillyweed is also something that I expect he should have encountered in his research. Why not research plants that could help you? Wouldn't that seem kind of obvious? That's how you make potions and stuff.
Well, and you would think maybe I'm being weird here, but if I were Harry, in every single one of these tasks, as soon as I had any idea what the fuck I was supposed to be doing, I would be going to every one of my professors and being like, so, hypothetically speaking, if I wanted to go pearl diving and had to stay down there for a long time.
He's not a Ravenclaw, he's not smart, he's not a Slytherin, he's not resourceful. Okay, he's just a Gryffindor, and if he can't bravely bluster through the answer on his own, he's going to suffer in silence.
You can't stay underwater on bravado alone. It doesn't work.
It will work until the end of your life. So,
but which will be drastically shorter than it would have been.
Hey, but it still worked for that tiny bit of time.
Well, and I do love that Harry has no intention of faking it. He's just I'll have to go down there and tell them I can't do it. And there's also, I don't remember exactly where this gets said, but I love when it's I think Ron is the one who's just walk down there, stick your head under the water, yell down at them to throw it up to you. And if they don't, say la vie.
Which is so much funnier when you think about the fact that it is Ron who is the item.
Yep. Yeah, because he would have had a different answer if he'd known. Just yeet me to the surface, bro.
It'll be fine.
Really quickly, one of the things that I thought was hysterical, or that I loved about this, is that Charms classroom that we start in, right? Is that not what you imagine every class at Hogwarts to be like besides Snape's? And maybe McGonagall's? Just absolute fucking chaos.
Absolute chaos. Because they're doing the opposite of the summoning spell. They're doing the banishing spell. And so they're trying to banish cushions into a box. Flitwick probably was I'm very smart. This won't hurt anybody. But Neville is a terrible aim. And so the narrative is he keeps accidentally banishing heavier things. For example, Professor Flitwick.
At least there's pillows everywhere, so when Flitwick goes flying across the room, he's gonna have a soft landing.
Yes. The thing that is also so great about it is how long Flitwick's been teaching here for years, generations at this point. I bet a part of him enjoys it. I bet a part of him loves the craziness.
That's his rush.
Right, hey guys, guess what tomorrow is? Flitwick, we don't give a shit. We know it's the banishment day.
Flitwick, we don't give
I'm
a
gonna
shit.
be flying around. You can do that anytime you want. Yeah, but this time, it's the yearly time. That it's like eating cake. You can eat cake if you're an adult any day you want, but the day that it's meant to happen, that's when it's best. And so the day that Flitwick gets to be tossed around and just thrown around magically like crazy, best day. That's why he doesn't change it.
He taught for over 30 years, Charms.
I can't keep my brain from wondering if, according to your logic that he enjoys it, if he also enjoys it in the bedroom, because it wouldn't be hard to find a partner who could throw Flitwick around a little bit in the bedroom, and some people really enjoy that shit.
We aren't here to kink shame.
Hey, as long as it's consensual, that's all.
For sure. Being thrown around is great, but it's better if you're smaller. Let me put it to you that way.
It's easier, that's for sure.
Yeah, easier. Did I say better?
Yeah, you said better.
Well, it is better because
The
then they
throw
can
might be
actually
better,
do
yes.
it correctly. Sinking to the ground, being like, oh God, I shouldn't have gained all that COVID weight. And
You find yourself jumping along with it like, yeah, throw me.
You banished yourself in the opposite direction.
I banished myself in a fit of passion. That's what happened. Wah!
okay, Flitwick and Aragorn trying to break into the restricted section, and there's a moat, and they cannot possibly cross it. So Flitwick is like,
Toss me. What?
And Aragorn's like, God damn it, no, every fucking time you do this, I always see the boner. It's always there. You wear robes, dude. It's fucking obvious. And I have to jump, and then I climb up, and you know what's really awkward? Climbing up and seeing the boner that you gave someone by throwing them across a gap. I'm just gonna say it, it's fucking weird.
that's my throw me boner.
It's like, well, what do you propose? He's like, I'm gonna throw you, I'm just not happy about it.
I'm not here to kink shame. I'm just here to kink ask why.
Kink why?
I'm just saying, you knew this was coming and you were looking forward to it. Also, I swear to God, if you moan when I throw you this time, I'm gonna be mad. Keep that to yourself.
If you moan when I throw you, I'm gonna miss on purpose.
It's gonna be a much bigger throw.
I'm
You're gonna
just-
fall a long way.
I'm just screaming. I'm just screaming out of fear, out of actual fear of throwing.
Yeah, let me do my imitation of your fear. Ooh!
Okay, wait, I have to stop. I have to stop us. We have so much to get through to be making so many sex jokes so early.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Okay, it's quite all right. Okay, so how does Harry breathe underwater? They start going to the library all the time looking for answers. There aren't any answers. Harry gets a note to visit the restricted section.
And you're telling me that fucking Madam Prince is sitting there like, I don't know.
Pince.
Pince, excuse, I always do that. Madam Pince is sitting there like, bro, I got no clue. God.
Yeah.
Whoa. Whoa. Water, keeping head under the water? Whoa.
Okay, she is not usually very helpful, but like I think she could do any. I just feel like he's like, it's against the rules to ask, which is so dumb. But I think if I were Harry, I would probably look for a book about like elemental magic or something. I'm sure they have a book about water magic. I have a book about water folklore. Why wouldn't they have a book about water magic in that school?
Or like a book about sailing. Because like if you're looking at a book about magical sailing, it's going to be like, well, what do I do if I go overboard?
Well, I think it's an interesting thing they do in the movie, because I have seen all of the movies since I was last on. I actually know what happens in the movies, and this time I could hear them all.
Sorry that we made you watch the first one on my couch while we were all screaming.
It's okay. I was not with it that night anyhow. I had a lot of alcohol.
Yeah,
It was fine.
I have that effect on people.
It's interesting that they use Neville, because they use somebody who actually has knowledge in an area different than the three of them. I do like what they do with Dobby here, don't get me wrong. I prefer that, but it's like, back to what you were saying earlier, literally talking to anybody else who might have a knowledge set different than the ones y'all have.
Well, and like, to be honest, like talking about the difference between the book and the movie, this is one of the few times that I think, and I like I said, this is a hot take, but I honestly think the movie is more, it's a better way to do it. Because here's the thing. Dobby, at this point in the series, has not made good decisions.
Well, and it does say in the narrative of this chapter, it's like, I remember the last time he tried to help me and he almost killed me.
And you're going to trust breathing under, you're going to eat anything that Dobby gives you.
Yeah.
Like, I love him to death. He's one of my favorite characters, but I'm not going to take what looks like a handful of worms and like, okay, Dobby, thanks. No.
Well, and it's, we sort of skipped over this, but like, he even talked to Hagrid, and I feel like Hagrid, might have had any sort of idea. But he kept it to himself, just like he did with Hermione. And it's like, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you?
Do anything.
And the only person he wants an answer from is Sirius. And Sirius just gives him the one line. And it's like, he's in hiding. What do you expect from him?
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways Harry could have tried harder at all. And about the Dobby thing, it's also, for the movie's sake, it's worth remembering that he has a whole, like, plot line. I mean, the house elves have this whole plot line in this book that they don't get in the movies, which is a choice I agree with. But we don't get to see Winky. We don't get to see Dobby again. So when he pops up in movie 8 or 7, it's like, okay, where have you been? And so, like, bringing him in here in the movies would be like, what the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah, that is true.
Because they don't talk about how he works at the school. But yeah, the days start slipping and they don't stop slipping until there's only 2 days left before the second test. See, that's the thing, is it's like, okay, like, maybe try to take care of it yourself until there's 2 weeks left. And then maybe start asking other students until there's 1 week left. And then maybe start asking some of the teachers you're comfortable with. And then, like, when you're 2 days left before the test, you ask every single person you run into in the hallway. Like, you go straight to the top. You go ask Dumbledore.
I'd ask fucking Draco, just like, hey dude, what you got? Hey asshole, how the fuck would you survive underwater for an hour, huh?
I'll kiss you if you tell me.
And like, this is the one time, the only time that Harry follows the rule? Really?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm not allowed to talk to people. Well, you're already talking to Ron and Hermione. So,
yeah, exactly. He even gets a note to go to the restricted section in this chapter, which I'm repeating that because I don't think we gave it a proper shout out when I mentioned it earlier, but they go to the restricted section in this chapter. Yeah!
The restricted section. Whoa.
It's the name of the podcast.
See, I thought we had gone with Harry Potter Magical Fun Time for like...
Dude, I knew we should have put the name of the podcast in the theme song. I knew it.
I forget now. Oh, damn it. Fuck.
People have no idea. Yeah, Sirius writes a letter asking for the date of their next Hogsmeade visit. I don't care. Right now, I don't care. Harry cares a lot, which he shouldn't, because I, as the reader, don't care about this right now. I'm doing something else. The title of the chapter is The Second Task. I don't want to write my godfather a letter about something else.
That's something non-related. Which it is funny that, like, literally the only reason that we get that is because she's like, hey, get ready. You're going to get another Hogsmeade chapter. Like, and it's like, we don't care. We're second task. There's only 3 of these in the book. Like, in the whole series, probably. You know? It's so much more exciting. But she's, like, still tempting us to, like, hey, you got that sweet, sweet Hogsmeade action. Like, fine!
I don't give a shit about Hogsmeade. And actually, they barely even go to Hogsmeade.
Yeah.
When they visit him, they go, like, past Hogsmeade.
But we don't know that yet, because we don't read ahead here.
It's true. We don't read ahead. We have no idea what's happening. I'm sure Harry's going to make it out of this one fine. I'm sure Dumbledore's going to see it through to the end.
Voldemort wins in the end, right?
Voldemort wins in the end, I'm sure of it. When I was buying book 7 and I was standing in line at the midnight release, some asshole drove past and screamed, Voldemort wins in the end. So I got my book, but I never read it because I know that's how it ends. And I don't need to read it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sad. It happens to the best of us.
It's the evening before the second task. Harry Potter is not okay.
Things aren't going well.
Things are not going well for him. Time is of the essence. And so the trio is holed up in the library one last time, very desperate.
Yeah.
I can feel Hermione's eyesight declining. Like she's going to come back with glasses next year.
Don't betray me, eyes. I must see this through.
No, she's just going to find a charm to fix her eyesight, but not fix Harry's.
I think we've talked about is there magic LASIK. And I think our friend Dan was on that episode because I remember him talking about an episode of The Twilight Zone called Time at Last or something, where like the last man on Earth
drops
is like
glasses.
Yeah, he's stoked to like finally get to read all the books in the world, which is a hugely relatable feeling for me. And then at the very end of the episode, he drops and shatters his glasses. And that like kind of affected me after I watched it for like many weeks. It's affecting me right now, actually.
Yeah,
let's move on.
Yes, because there aren't such things as doctor's offices or optometrist offices, rather, on many corners in many towns that you could just walk into and grab a pair of glasses off of.
Yo, not me, though, because my prescription is extremely specific and it costs a lot of extra money and they have to ship it away.
Ah, well, that's your fault for having bad eyes.
I have a baby prescription.
For babies?
I know it's for babies. But I need it.
Why did you steal that baby's prescription?
Like, literally, when I first got my glasses, the optometrist was like, yeah, this is normally what babies wear.
Do you get to wear those glasses that hook around your ears so they don't fall off? Because those
The
are
spoggles?
adorable.
The sport goggles?
I wish. My ears are super tiny, though, so, like, nothing stays on my ears.
It's adorable.
I need to wear children's masks, too, because my face is so small. Like, it's very scrunched together, and I have such tiny ears.
Whoa. Can't relate. Got a huge mouth, personally.
I am a mess of a person.
Your glasses are cute, though. She's wearing them. They're seafoam green.
Yes. Zenny, that's the unofficial plug.
Yeah, that's what I'm wearing, too. Okay, wait. That was not what this podcast is about.
Okay. Books.
Tasks.
They're all researching, and Fred and George come up to fetch Hermione and Ron. They're like, McGonagall wants you. And they're like, what the fuck? Like, we're obviously extremely busy. But McGonagall needs them.
You don't say no to that woman.
You don't. So they fucking leave. And Hermione is like, take as many books as you can carry back to the common room and we'll meet you there. And after they leave, Harry's like, I guess they have to leave because they were helping me get ready for this task, which is like the dumbest shit. McGonagall's not like that. Like, she wouldn't.
Well, and you've been doing this in the library for like months. Like,
I think it's been 2 weeks only.
But it's still weeks. Like, McGonagall's a sharp cookie, or a sharp cookie. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
A sharp cookie.
She's a sharp cookie.
A shark cookie.
She's a very smart cookie. She would have noticed that. And she also probably would have expected it from the very beginning. Like, well, Potter's dumb. Of course he's going to go to Granger.
She probably should have been like dropping hints. Maybe she was, dude. Maybe she straight up was this whole time.
In fact, here's the real explanation. What really was happening is the entire time McGonagall would walk by Harry and be like, you should probably check with Neville, you know? He probably knows some magical plants that might be able to help you out with the task, you know, maybe? And would just, like, say that every time, but it wasn't even in the books because Harry didn't even notice it. The movie got it right. He should have noticed it, or Neville even noticed it and was like, oh!
That's exactly what he did.
Oh!
Neville haunting the library, trying to get Harry to realize something.
It wasn't Peeves, it was Neville.
So Madame Pince eventually kicks Harry out of the library.
Rude.
He takes as many books as he can carry back to the common room to keep searching. And then finally, at midnight, he's like, fuck this. And he takes his invisibility cloak and goes back to the library for more searching. And it's like actually extremely pathetic. It's like he just keeps telling himself, like, well, it's in the next book. The answer's in the next book. And then it goes ...
Listen, we've all been to college. We've all been there. Like, everyone on this call right now has been at that point where you're writing a paper and you're like, you're doing that thing where you're right about to have a breakdown and you're almost at tears, but you're not quite there. And you're like, I'm sure it'll work out.
It's gonna be great.
Listen, if I can write 1 word per minute, I only need to write for 4 hours, and it's only 5 hours until it's due. So
me
I'm
trying
sure
to finish
I'll
my
find
thesis.
it.
My thesis was a special time in my life. Mid-pandemic, at the beginning of the pandemic, I lost access to the library, lost access to my thesis advisor because he never answered his emails.
Oh God.
It was I eventually was just like, well, here you go. I don't fucking care anymore.
Yeah.
It's got to be a no from me.
I think the only other time was like my freshman year, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do a 5-hour energy shot to like try and get this paper done overnight. I was asleep in 30 minutes. And I was like, what the fuck?
Right. That's how my body does caffeine too.
Christina and I both had the same look on our face when you said, I took a 30-minute or a 5-hour injury. We both had that look of like, oh, you sweet summer child.
They used to pass those out at ODU during finals. They'd be like, free 5-hour energy for everyone. Go kill yourself, I guess.
Here, have a really bad amount of caffeine.
Yeah, here's my trick. If you are pulling an all-nighter, just get a bag of Cheez-Its. And then, or like a box, I guess. They come in a box. And like, if you're on the verge of tears, just have a handful of Cheez-Its. And that usually like tamps it down. And your body's not hungry, so you like don't eat the whole box. It's like you're just slowly giving your body these like tiny micro rewards. And it's like, okay, we can do this. We can do this. We can keep going for more Cheez-Its.
I'll nerd out educationally for a second right here. In the education psychology world, giving those micro rewards while studying is proven to be super effective.
My best friend has started doing that with her students recently.
Yeah, they recommend if, like, say you have a bunch of reading to get done and you're not much of a reader, at the end of every 2 pages, give yourself an M&M. And it just gives you something
one
tangible.
Single M&M.
Yeah, it's something tangible to keep going, and you tend to retain more because you're more focused on getting to the M&M.
Yo, on the flip side, if you have a snacking problem, that's a really great way to help you pace your snacking problem. Because the only way I will not crush an entire box of Cheez-Its or an entire bag of M&Ms is if I have a set of rules for myself and I am playing a game now against myself and I can't lose.
I still think it's a little braggy of you all to show off that you have the capability to make rules with yourself when it comes to M&Ms or Cheez-Its, okay? You're just showing your fucking privilege, whatever. Some of us know that they're single use and go bad immediately once you open the wrappers, so it's best to eat them within 30 minutes, okay?
Once a year, I'm like sick or something, and I buy a box of Cheez-Its, and I eat them in one sitting on the couch by myself, and Sean's just giving me this weird look because he thinks Cheez-Its are weird, and I'm like, this is why we can't have things like this in the house. Like, you're seeing a demonstration of the worst case scenario. Never bring these to me again until I'm sick next time.
When I need 2 boxes.
Okay, I want to start rating Harry now.
Okay.
I want our first rating to be when he studies so hard that he falls asleep under the invisibility cloak in the library. On a scale of 1 to 10, Taylor, what do you think?
I'm gonna give him a 6 or a 7, purely because he's just trying his goddamn best.
It's
true. It isn't like any of his other decisions later that are just out of pure like adrenaline. He just is really trying to find this answer, and he will feel like a failure to Hermione if he does not find the answer.
Aw,
and I'm like,
Hermione.
I'm like, I don't blame you, my dude. I don't blame you. As you said, we've all been there. In high school, a teacher stopped asking me how I was every day because the answer was always tired.
That's also our pandemic policy.
Yeah.
Don't ask anyone how they are. It's rude.
Yeah, no, like, she literally was like, I'm not even going to ask you anymore. I'm like, that's fair.
Note I started this episode with, it's Taylor, you know her, moving on. Yeah.
If anybody who knows me knows I'm consistently tired to this day.
She's tired, okay?
So it's like, I'm like, I can't blame him. He's a 14-year-old boy in a very stressful situation. I would also probably do that.
So I am not a tired person. I don't know if you guys have met me. I'm not a tired person. I don't really get tired. I have a lot of energy all the time. And so I would never fall asleep at the library. I can fall asleep in a car. I can fall asleep on a train. I can fall asleep. Well, I had an hour-long bus ride to my high school, so I can fall asleep on any automobile.
Good God.
But I would not fall asleep while actively doing something in the library, I think. So I'm going to give this a 4. And the 4 points are for effort. Like, he really is trying his hardest. But here's the thing. You could have pulled an all-nighter 3 weeks ago, and it wouldn't have felt so stressful. You could have been doing this a lot earlier, and you fell asleep. You failed. You lost the war with yourself. Andrew, what? 1 to 10.
See, I'm kind of split here because I do think that like the falling asleep aspect, I don't think he had any control over that. You know, I think that's just like, honestly, I think it's probably more stress than anything. When he got to the point that
like when your body gets hurt and your brain is like, we're going unconscious now because I don't want to deal with this.
We're going good night now, and you're like, no, I need to stay up, and it's like, no,
they're like, your adrenaline levels are stressing us out. Okay, you need to go to sleep.
And like the thing, I was going to knock him for being in a situation where he didn't have like an alarm or anything like that.
How could he have an alarm?
He has a watch. I mean, he has to wake up somehow every day at a certain time.
I
right?
think it's just like I don't think he has any. They're not allowed electricity, dude.
He mentions later that his watch stopped working, so it was working before then. So like,
You're right.
he has some capability. Or like, even if it's like, Hedwig, I need you to wake me. But anyways, I was going to say, I kind of get it though, because like...
That's like at Cinderella. And Cinderella starts with all of the forest animals coming in to help her start her day.
Harry wakes up each day to like Hedwig pecking him like, at 7:30, bitch.
Right in the center of the forehead. I'm so sorry to interrupt.
In the scar. It's in the scar, so it doesn't show. But like I said, I was going to knock him for that, but then I realized it's like, if he doesn't figure out a way, it doesn't matter if he shows up on time. So like, fuck it.
It's
all
true.
in all, I'm going to give him like a 7. Like,
okay.
He could have, like, magical coffee. I am sure there is like a short burst of energy spell. Like, Status Upitus.
Coffee spell.
Espresso is Maximus, like something like that. Or even just like scream for a house elf, like, help, I need coffee.
I don't know if they do that.
I'm sure they've got room service. It's just very unique. He's friends with Dobby. Come on now.
They all hate Dobby, so it'd be Dobby doing it. But okay, whatever. Here's a question.
Yes.
If Dobby hadn't come with the gillyweed, do you think Harry would have gone
Slept
down?
through it. It.
He was out.
Like,
okay, but what if he did wait? What if I'm asking
If
like
he
what you
woke
think
up,
his choice would be? Because
Yes.
He
I
would have
not
gone down.
physically gone.
He would have gone down because, as Haley would say, he's a good boy. And like, he would have shown up and been like, I can't do it.
That's part of the bravery aspect. It takes a lot of bravery to go and admit that you failed.
Absolutely.
Wow. So a Hufflepuff, would walk back down to my common room, and I would get in bed, and I would pull the covers over my head. And when they came for me, I would be like, "Oh no, I overslept, but it's okay because I had nothing anyway. Just give me a 0. Like, I'm cool with that."
I'll take the L. I'm just gonna roll over and go back to sleep.
See, the Slytherin part of me would say, wait, I would go down and then sort of scope out what the other people are doing and maybe use that as my way of...
Oh my god, just like copy what they said.
Yeah.
That's genius. They're only 10 feet apart. It like specifically says they're only 10 feet apart.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't work for me specifically because I can't hear, but in the case that I could hear normally, like a normal person, that's what I would do.
I think I would have... if it got to be like, let's say the task, they say the task is at 9 a.m. or something like that?
I think it's 9:30.
Yeah.
Okay, if it's at 9:30, come about 8 o'clock. If I still don't have an answer, I'm probably going to head on down there. And the reason is that the moment that the first person with any amount of authority whatsoever shows up, I'm going to have a very quick, hushed conversation that, like, take them behind a bleacher and, like, and then, like, everyone watching just sees me turn around and walk not towards the castle, but, like, diagonally so I can loop back eventually. But just away from there. So, like, I do the right thing, and I'm like, listen, I can't compete. This is not going to work out. But to everyone watching, it's like, oh, he must be going to do something. He must have told them, like, I'll be right back. And then come time for the task, they're like, here, like, Andrew was here. I saw him talk to
He's
Ludo
gonna do something
Bagman.
really impressive.
He must
from a
be,
great
it's
distance.
probably going to be a grand entrance. And they're just like... Competitor Andrew Akers has officially said that he will not be competing in this task. He received 0 points.
Okay, so now that I'm thinking about it, if I were in this situation where I was Harry and I like didn't ask to participate in this and I'm being compelled to do it against my will, I would do what you did and do what you said and go down to the pitch at like 8 o'clock in the morning. And the second Ludo Bagman shows up, I would be like, hey man, I need you to tell me how to get through this because I got nothing.
That's a good call. That's a good call.
He is the person to ask in this case.
Usually I'd be like, that's cheating, but like I did not ask for this and I'm not trying to die or look like a fucking idiot just because they have 3 more years of school than me. Like that fucking sucks.
He's definitely the person to ask because he definitely has money on you too.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and, like, honestly, now that you say that, you're absolutely right because knowing how... Here's the thing. I don't have morals to make me be like, I'm going to play by the rules in this challenge to the death that I wasn't chosen, that I didn't choose to.
Rules.
No, I would have been having a standing owl post with Ludo Bagman. Like, he would know my owl by name. He would know his favorite snack because, like, we would be talking every day, and I'd be like, so what are the words exactly to that bubblehead charm? And where again in the lake is it? Like, I went down yesterday and I looked around, so like I saw the Mermaid Village, and you said it's going to be on the statue. Okay.
It's like just watch the whole walkthrough before you even start.
Right. I would have found that video on YouTube like, hi, I'm going to show you how to do the second challenge of the Triwizard Tournament. So this is the bubblehead charm. Boom.
I say it all the time on the show that I'm lawful, and like what that does not mean is like I like the rules, right? That's not what lawful means. For someone like Percy Weasley, it does mean that. But like if something's not fair like this, like those rules don't count anymore. And like I like rules in general, but like not the unjust ones. Like I got my own rules, you know, and it's like fair is fair and be a nice person. And that's why I'm a lawful Hufflepuff.
Pretty sure I'm like true neutral because my thing is like, I'll obey the rules. Well, the smart rules.
The right rules, exactly. Like, they got me into a lot of trouble in high school. They did not buy that defense.
Yeah, they don't appreciate that at all.
So Harry is woken from a strange mermaid dream by Dobby the house elf, and I do like this. I like because it comes in. What?
Stop. Give me it back.
Oh, yeah. What is he trying to get?
The mermaid in the painting in the prefix bathroom has his firebolt and is like holding it.
The only thing he cares about.
Yeah, it's holding it above his head. He's like, stop.
Right. And then it's like fading back into reality. And it's like, Dobby must not stop poking Harry Potter. Like, whatever. He's like, Dobby must poke Harry Potter. Harry Potter must get his Wheezy.
What?
Adorable.
By what?
That part was the best part to listen to. Is just Dobby saying over and over again the word Wheezy. And I'm like, this is what I need.
It, like several times because, well, first of all, Harry's at a level 12 right now. He was a level 11 out of 10 stress when he fell asleep, and now he's at a 12. And I'm sure he isn't hearing anything correctly in these first 10 seconds of consciousness when he's at a level 12 stressed. But Dobby also is not pronouncing Weasley correctly.
I feel like at some point he should have gotten the fact that he was meaning Weasley.
I don't know.
Considering the Weasleys use the word wheezes in their brand.
Wait, but that hasn't happened yet.
Well, we still talk about it. Yeah, at the beginning of the book.
Well,
Andrew's got something smart.
Here's a hot take. Ron. Very easy to say.
He might not know
Very
because
easy to say.
House elves, maybe house elves only know like last names because it's like a propriety thing.
I don't know. I see Molly Weasley to be the type to write Ron's name in his underwear.
Oh, yeah. She would have to for her own sorting purposes.
Right. So Dobby for sure knows that is at least R Weasley, right? Also, Dobby has never had like a difficult time pronouncing names until now. Am I wrong here? I could be wrong, but
I don't think he tried a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta think he does normally use last names, and you think about with Harry, he always calls him Harry Potter. He can't let go of that formality, so there is a good chance that and because the Weasleys are an old wizarding family, he's probably heard the Weasleys referred to by the Malfoys.
It's like you hear Mr. Darcy referred to as just straight up Darcy way more than you ever hear him referred to as Fitzwilliam. And you know why? Because you shouldn't name your children Fitzwilliam.
I've tried to read Pride and Prejudice. Pride and Prejudice. It's just not my thing.
I've been on a bender lately, the old P&P bender.
But I did not remember that was his name, and I'm gonna. I think I think I'm going to name my child Fitzwilliam. I think
He's not even the only character named Fitzwilliam in that book. There are 2 characters named Fitzwilliam.
I mean, I think we all know at least 3 or 4 Fitzwilliams in our everyday lives. That it's one of those names that you've got to like put something else after it in your phone because it's like, well, Fitzwilliam, I got 4.
Didn't you graduate with 4 like I did?
Yeah, so like
Okay.
Fitzwilliam Tall or Fitzwilliam College.
Okay,
Yeah.
Fitzwilliam, if you're listening, it's a fine name, but surely you don't expect your friends to every time call you Fitzwilliam. Email us. Let us know. restrictedsectionpod@gmail.com. Okay. So a lot's happening. Harry's running late. The task starts in 10 minutes. It's 9:20 a.m. Dobby tells Harry that the mer people have taken Ron, his Wheezy, but it's okay because Dobby knows Harry obviously doesn't have the answer, so he brought the answer, gillyweed, which looks like what's it called? A rat king, but without the rat, with just the king part.
Just the tails.
Just the
Just
tails.
the worst part.
Heads or tails, baby. Give me all the rat tails you got.
Oh, God.
So Harry sprints down to the lake. There's only like lingering people in the castle, and they're all watching him like blow by at like 1,000 miles per hour, knowing exactly what he's running to. He runs up on the lake. Everyone's already there, and they've been waiting for him. Okay, scale of 1 to 10.
So I have to say, I give Harry credit here because I would have died. Okay?
What do you?
Because
When?
my thought process would have been, Dobby gave me this and he says I need to eat it before I go in the water. I'm going to eat it now so the
I would
judges
never.
don't know. Because Dobby didn't give that good of instructions. He just said, eat it before you go in. And my ass would have been like, well, I can't be seen eating it because obviously they'll know, like, where did you get that from? Like, even if they ask me, I don't remember what the fuck he just said it's called. I'm just going to eat it and I'll be good to go by the time.
Interesting.
And I would, like, die with gills in the Great Hall.
I would have died when Dobby woke me up just from like a stress heart attack, or on the run down there because I'm unfit.
Guarantee you can run faster than you think you can. That goes for every single person listening to this
That's true.
podcast. Unless you just can't run for some reason, and that's fine. Not everyone has to run. But okay, wait, I have a question. So if Harry had taken the gillyweed in the library, and as you said, Andrew passed out with gills in the Great Hall, and the Creevy brothers, whom he knocked into canonically in this chapter, if they picked him up and ran him down to the lake and chucked him into the water, do you think they would have still let him participate? Do you think that would have counted as cheating, like on a super technicality by being delivered there by children? Like, what do you think would have happened?
At that point, you're talking about a Harry who hasn't had oxygen to his brain for 3 minutes or so because, like, it takes time for them to be like, we need to get him there and grab him. And, you know, they drop
And
him
you
a few
know
times.
they dropped him on the way.
No,
like,
no,
you-
wait, no. I'm giving the Gravy brothers all the credit in this moment. They've never been tested in this way. I'm giving them all the credit of being like, Gills, let's go. It's a lake thing. That's where we're headed already. And picking him up, and he's not heavy. And I think they just successfully get him down to the lake, and he slithers away.
They say, okay, we're going to line up now. And Harry is dropped unconscious on the verge of death.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know
a
if
few
they...
times in the sand as they yell, go, and everyone runs into the lake.
And Ludo Bagman, like, kicks him just like,
Yeah, just
a little bit into the water.
Nobody saw anything. It's fine.
Shoots
Bye.
a bandit, like a reducto at the base of the like beach right before, boom, just blows his body into the water. Like, whoa, look at that, random.
Okay, Taylor. Harry runs late down to the what I almost said the pitch, the lake. A scale of 1 to 10. How much do you rank that?
I'm gonna give him probably a 6 or a 7 then again, because once again he's doing what he thinks is right in the moment. He thinks he needs to show up no matter what. And the fact that he makes it, like he seems to make it by 9:30
Yeah, you're right.
because of Dobby. Dobby gets the most credit here because Dobby wakes him up.
Let's rate Dobby on a scale of 1 to 10 right now.
Dobby gets a 10. I mean, this is probably the most useful Dobby's been so far in the series.
No. Dobby gets a very low score because Dobby stole that gillyweed a very long time ago. Harry's had hours that he could have been
That's
properly
fair.
informed of exactly what's going on, exactly how the gillyweed works. He could have been ready and well rested, and instead he is tired and like suddenly woken up and is running on. No, Dobby gets a 1. Harry gets a 10 though, because Harry gets his butt down there and he's at the lake and he's ready to go and he has his plan and he has his gillyweed and he's trusting of his friends.
I just think that no one should get a perfect score on this because they are being actively bamboozled with this.
That is true.
With this gilly
a 9. Harry gets a 9 because
yeah, 9 sounds better.
He went with the flow. He did the evacuation. He got down to the beach. He has the thing, even if he didn't know he would have the thing, and he's willing to trust Dobby apparently. So like.
Yeah, I'm docking him for the trusting Dobby part.
Yeah, actually, even though it works out right,
I'm docking him for the Dobby part.
Like he trusted Dobby that much.
I mean, if we're using that logic, okay, not to bring it back, but if we're using that logic, like Dobby is not like a lot more reliable and trustworthy than Neville at this point, because we were talking about how the movies were better because Neville's more convincing, but Neville has not proven himself to be capable yet.
Well, I said that earlier.
It's herbology, though.
And Neville has the book. Like, he can literally
Okay,
prove...
he can point to his reference.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
He cites his source. It's not, here, take this handful, which also, listeners, don't just take a handful of anything someone hands you. Like, ask questions. This is good. Don't just accept if you're out in public and someone's
Thank
like,
you for
eat
this
this.
rat king.
Yeah. You don't want to eat it and then be like, what was that? And they're like, drugs. Like, that's not a good look.
Oh my god, I've actually literally... I love my girlfriends, but they are dumb. And I have had a lot of talks with a lot of dumb ass hoes that I've loved over the years for just taking something at a party. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Describe it to me. I start doing my police sketch. I'm like, describe the pill to me. I'm going to figure out what is going on here.
Tell me the hat the guy was wearing, because this is
we're
ODU,
getting
so
to
I'm
the
going to
bottom
find
of
the
this.
hat, and I'm going to find the guy.
What's in your pockets? I'm a cop tonight.
Yeah. Did they have board shorts and flip-flops on? Fuck! That's half the people here. Okay, we'll find this out.
Andrew and I did go to a beach college, okay? Okay, I give Dobby a 5 in this scene, and I give Harry a 7 in this moment.
That's fair.
For the giving the gillyweed and the running.
That's fair.
I mean, so Ludo Bagman stations the champions 10 feet apart on the lake and blows the whistle, and then the second task begins.
Woohoo!
And I don't think we get any descriptions of what anyone else is doing, right? It's just Harry, because he's not fucking looking.
Right. This is actually it's really well written, because like you are in that moment, you are Harry. Like, because here's the thing that I think. It talks about how Slytherin started like jeering. I don't think they were jeering at Harry. I think they were jeering at Crumb. Because Crumb's doing this spell and he fucks it up and he's only half shark and like... I think that's who they were like joking at, but Harry is in that moment with all that stress and he's like, obviously they're joking at me.
You're probably right.
I could also see them being mad at the judges for letting Harry take part, thinking he was too late to be part of it. And they're like, well, that's not fair.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I want to speak to your manager.
The Slytherins we see in this book are all Karens. Just
Absolutely.
like I promise that not all Slytherins are Karens. I don't consider myself a Karen.
Slughorn's not a Karen, and Snape's not really a Karen either.
I beg to differ. I think Slughorn would absolutely be a Karen if the world around him did not bend to his will.
Yeah, Slughorn would be. Snape is his own.
I think if you brought him like
entity.
the wrong kind of red wine at the restaurant, he would have something to say and your tip would be affected, for sure.
I don't see him having the balls to stand up to someone, though. I don't see him having like the strength of will to be a Karen and like escalate it any more than excuse me, I actually ordered the other wine, and if it didn't resolve there, he'd be like, okay.
Maybe I should add Slughorn to our good or bad bonus episode series that I'm planning.
He's a good one. He's a good one for that.
Yeah, because like it's really only the most major characters where it's like good or bad. I mean, obviously Voldemort's bad, but we're doing a Snape good or bad. We're doing a Dumbledore good or bad.
Nicolas Cage, good or bad? A challenge, certainly, but not unsolvable.
And I think Slughorn would be another interesting character, and there's kind of enough information about him because we learn a lot about him in this one book. Okay, whatever. We're so off topic.
You mean in that book 2 books from now?
Yeah. That's going to be 2025. Stick with us.
That time doesn't exist. That's good.
I think it's actually 2023, 2024 that we're going to be doing book 6. So stick around, please. For the love of God, stick around.
We're so bored. We need this.
The second task has begun, and Harry wades into the water in his full robes. Has everyone here seen Pirates of the Caribbean, right? Remember when... Her name's not Kirsten Stewart, but that's the only name. Keira Knightley. That was the only name in my brain was Kirsten
Elizabeth
Stewart.
Swan.
Yeah, it's not.
When Keira Knightley goes down into the water, it's the...
And she's wearing the dress.
She's wearing the dress, and it's like taking her down because it's so voluminous.
Mm-hmm.
It is a very voluminous dress. Yes.
Yeah. So Harry like does not take off his robe, that's the most ridiculous part of this chapter.
He takes off his shoes and socks. Like, that's the best part. He takes the time to take off his individual shoes and socks.
Very silly to me.
Yes, that is going to get a 2 from Andrew, because you're right, he did get off the shoes and socks, but just
he
from
can
the
leave those
point,
on.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they should come off just for their sake, but they don't need to. You really should take that robe off.
Yeah, I'm not a very modest person, so like I for sure would be in my underwear for this. Like, I can't imagine swimming in anything like more restrictive than like a bikini bottoms and a t-shirt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sounds terrible. So he eats the gillyweed. It seems nasty. Duh, it's like fucking worms, dude.
You're just
Surprise!
shoving seaweed into your face right now.
It's worms. Suddenly he can't breathe the air because he has gills. Duh.
Which isn't how that works, but it's okay.
That's how that works here. We can't start talking about gills and stuff. We'll never stop. He jumps into the water and he can breathe, so to speak, easily now, and he has webbed fingers and toes. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, Taylor, please rate this magical girl transformation.
Oh, 10. This is beautiful. We just needed some lights, some flashing. It would be in every anime ever. I'm here for it. It gives me big Beast Boy vibes from like Teen Titans.
Oh yeah, nice. Andrew, what about you? Scale of 1 to 10.
So I'm confused. Are we grading the transformation itself, like how effective it is?
Oh, just like if you were watching a TV show and you were like, that was fun to watch. It was like at least slightly convincing and I had a good time.
I'll give it like a 6, maybe. Because, like, it's not that dramatic from the outside perspective. Like, I think you were probably reading the illustrated edition, which does show him having, like, elongated fingers and toes and feet and stuff.
These are wild. I have it right in front of me. His feet look like hands.
They're very, like, elongated.
But remember,
in this illustration,
while you're doing that, a kid has half a shark body.
Right, yeah.
So, like, while it would be cool, it's probably not what you're looking at because it just looks a little off, right?
Yeah. I'm going to rate this an 8. Like, I think it's pretty fantastic. The way that it's phrased is like he's like gasping for air and he just like flops face first into the water. But it still is cool. And like, I think it would probably be extremely cool to be able to breathe, so to speak, breathe water and swim around freely.
The flopping on his face is just super relatable, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like,
it is super
like
relatable.
if I went through that magical girl transformation, that is how I would react to. Just...
Which also, if there was the internet and access to it in the wizarding world, you know for a fact that someone would have made a video of Harry falling face first into the lake, but with like Chumbawamba's "I get knocked down," and like when it hit down, he would hit the water and like spasm. I get up again.
Just one thing I want to point out. The book says, you know, after he face plants and breathes water and is like, this feels good. The book says he flipped over and dived into its depths, it being the lake. And I was thinking about how in the movie he does this like really gratuitous showboaty like spin. And I was like, technically that's canon to the book because he said I flipped over. And like maybe if you were a dolphin for the first time in your life, you wouldn't notice that you were doing dramatic dolphin tricks. You would just be like, this is amazing.
Ha-ha!
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame him for reacting that way. I like you said, if I were a fucking dolphin for the first time, I'm gonna.
If I think that the Slytherins were jeering at me and I just developed dolphin-akin powers, I am totally going to do a free willy and get as high as possible and like a full arc just to show like, fuck you.
And he
Splash,
lands.
and then, like, go.
He lands on the beach because he's not good at being
Yeah, and then he flops.
a whale yet.
Shit. Can someone push me in?
Okay, so he's swimming away. Harry Potter swims away into the lake. He's just swimming like this whole chapter is like, just keep swimming, just keep swimming.
This is kind of Harry in his element, you know? This is Harry running down the hallway before the big battle. Because Harry isn't that great in the battle. Like, he makes it through, but it's not his shining moment. His moment is always in these little bits where it's like, I'm on the right path. I'm going the right way. I'm ready to go. I feel confident. It's before he gets the first shock of like, oh fuck, something's going wrong. This is Harry James Potter.
So Harry's swimming. He gets grabbed by a Grindilo, and then he gets grabbed by more Grindylos.
You say Grindilo?
I always say Grindylow.
Grindalo.
Oh, good. We all pronounce it differently. It's fine.
Ooh.
Okay. What did I say? No, I'm confused.
You say
You said
Grindylow.
Grindilo.
I say Grindylow, and he puts.
Grindilo, yeah. I say it like it's an Italian occupation. Like, I work at the Grindilo.
Where we find the Grindilo.
Grindilo is how that one person, Mythology and Fiction Explained on YouTube described it. And that person had a British accent.
In the audiobook I was listening to, at least, it was Grindylow.
Grindilo. Okay, so Harry gets grabbed by multiple Grindylos. He gets grabbed by a Grindilo, a Grindilo, and a Groundilo, or however you that can't have been right. He's trying to fight them off. He realizes he can't use his wand because his voice doesn't work, because that's not how human voice is produced via air expelling from the throat.
And there's no air in there, just water right now.
Ain't no air in there, so he can't talk. But in failing to do the spell, though, he still kind of like blasts the creatures a little bit, so he has time to sort of like get away.
Oh, see, no, I took that a completely different way. I took that as that the spell produces sparks when you're up above the water, but when you're in the right environment, it does what it's supposed to, which is blasts of boiling water.
Oh, interesting.
Because, like, if you don't have the water around you, it just makes the sparks.
Whoa.
My brain is somewhere else right now. Can you think about the fact that, like, the lake water is going into his mouth?
Yeah, it's gross as shit.
I didn't think about that while listening to
We
the
can't
chapter.
dwell on this.
Okay, so yeah.
It is kind of gross.
Fish fuck in that water.
Especially since canonically, the toilets flush there.
Into them, yes.
Canonically.
Hey,
like,
no
that is
wonder the
super
mer people
confirmed.
hate them. Like,
they're shit.
you're just shitting on them. Literally.
Whatever. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do we rate this Grindilo encounter, Andrew?
I give him very high marks because he remembered the right spell. He performed it well. He thought, he defended himself and got away with very minor, well, not really even any injuries. Like, he doesn't even seem too scraped up. So I'm going to give him like a 9. Once again, not the best. Like, your whole situation's fucked up, so you can't get a 10. But in this situation, I'm going to give him a 9. Yeah, he got the best that he possibly could in this situation.
Okay, Taylor, go ahead.
I'm gonna give him an 8, taking off that extra point for him not thinking about the fact that he can't speak underwater. That's just...
Well, see, I think that's the spell that was meant to do that, though. Like, that's the reason that it worked, is even though he couldn't actually say it, it's like meant, like the whole spell is fun.
I also think maybe he was like, why wouldn't I be able to speak underwater? Because I can breathe underwater.
Right.
Gotta try it once, I guess.
But then he just keeps trying it.
Right, I guess that's just a reflex. The brave Gryffindors get along on reflex alone.
That's where his bravado came in. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I'll give him an 8 because, like, it's an effective. What it is it's effective. He gets away.
Yeah, I think an 8 sounds right for me too, just because it's effective. It does. I think that in like this kind of a situation where you are in like like life and death or like mortal peril a little bit. Like if it literally saves your life, that you're like succeeding a constitution save or something, you know? So he's just swimming along and then it's like, how are you getting on? Like as clear as day in the water in his ear. Just like,
sup, bro?
just like, what's up, bro? Like, I have this problem where in my home, when I know my husband is home, he startles me all the time. If I'm like in a room kind of half high doing my own thing and he like walks into the room, I get startled a lot. So I think this would ruin my life and I would for sure void my bowels in fear at this.
Well,
but it's okay because you're in a lake. Yeah.
Yeah, the toilet's already empty there.
I hate it.
Just undo your belt and like swim forward or swim back a little bit. Pretend like it never happened.
It's Moaning Myrtle. And she points him in the right direction. She literally just points him. She's like, that away. So he goes that way and he's like swimming. You get me? He's fucking swimming, dude. It's taking a while. He's using a lot of his strength right now.
Oh, you mean swimming like he's going through the river of denial in his head and he's overcoming his fear? No, literally. He's just been swimming.
His thoughts are swimming.
Swim.
That is his only thought. Fucking swim.
Movement while underwater. Swim.
And swim, and swim, and swim.
Stroke, 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 stroke.
He finally hears the mer people singing, and he follows the sound to the source. And the source is the mermaid village, outpost, something, somewhere that they gather.
A society of mers.
Yeah, the mer people. That means water. Oh my god. I'm so mad right now. I hate when I like linguistically prank myself. I'm like, did you know? And then it's like, obviously mer people means water people.
I didn't know that.
It's mer.
Yeah,
Marine.
I'll pretend. Yeah, obviously.
You did it.
Duh.
Let's rank Harry on a scale of 1 to 10 for safely and successfully locating his quarry, his Wheezy. Andrew, on a scale of 1 to 10, how did he do getting here?
I mean, you can only give him like at most a 3, right? Because he didn't find shit. He was literally like, nah, dude, that way.
You're right about that.
Yeah, like I can't really give him that much. I'm gonna give him a 3 because he did follow where she pointed. Like she could have pointed in one direction. He's like, nah, I outsmarted you, and like,
no, she loves him too much.
That's what he did when Cedric was like, take a bath with the egg. He was like, well, that makes me grumpy, so I'm not going to do that for a month.
That's rude. Yeah, he spends several hours going the opposite direction before he's like, well, maybe she wasn't lying.
Taylor, on a scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah, I'd probably go with a 3 too for pretty much the same reasons. I mean, good for him for like the endurance of swimming for 20 minutes straight. That actually, I'll up it to a 4 for that endurance.
I was just about to say I'm gonna give him a 4 because I'm nicer than both of you, but I guess I'm not.
So you give him a 5?
No. I give him a strong 4, and it's for the endurance. He's like, this feels great. I'm on my way.
He's in his jock environment. Like he's doing the one thing he can do. Physical fitness.
I'm sure listeners will note that on pretty much every single one of these categories up until this one, I have given Harry a higher ranking than Christina, and therefore by her metric, I'm far nicer than she is.
Yeah, you're probably right. I'll do some math later. Nods.
Somehow this episode was only 45 minutes. None of the conversations where we ranked anything were in there.
Okay, so Harry arrives at the hostages. It's Ron, Hermione, who's Crumbs. What does the poem say? Like your most precious thing, or like the thing you cherish most?
Yeah, your most cherished item, most precious item.
To recover what we took. I'm great at singing.
I loved it. It was.
Thank you.
Come seek us where our voices sound. We cannot sing above the ground. And while you're searching, ponder this. We've taken what you'll sorely miss.
What you'll sorely miss. Okay, so that makes me actually feel better that they picked Cho for Cedric and Hermione for Victor Crumb, because I think they would sorely miss them for sure. And it's not like a loves most situation or something. Harry would so miss Ron. They just made up from that fight.
No, it's the perfect choice for Harry. Like,
and then there's Gabrielle, also known as Gabrielle, Flora's sister.
I believe it's pronounced Gabrielle.
Here's the thing with French. I'm too literal. That's why I'm great at Spanish, because I love to read every single letter in a word. And it's hard for me to just blow past them like Gabrielle.
It's like the French, when they speak, just choose which words to, like, they use all the apathy that a nation could have, but they directed it entirely at their language. Gabrielle.
Very stylistic.
There's like 14 letters there, and it's pronounced G.
the thing I love about French, and there are very few things I love about French, I hate it, is the fact that, like, it is a regulated language by the French government.
That is
so,
true.
like, I mean, I don't like the sexism part of it, because, like, all the words for death are feminine, but it is like an actual regulated language, and then they just add, like, the slang words and things to the language as it grows. But, like, there's no question about where things fit.
I do love a language that it's like, well, French, if you're all official, why wouldn't you pronounce every letter? Because the world, it's fucked, you see. Why spend time pronouncing every letter? No. Only the ones that you need to get the word across. And it's like, but you don't. You don't pronounce it. We have no idea what you're saying.
You know what language I love?
German.
What's it? Is it Murish, or is it like Mer people-ish, or is it like Mermish?
Mermish. I think it'd be Mermish.
I think it is Mermish.
Should be Merseltongue.
Andrew, you're right. Nobody heard your joke, but Merseltongue is hilarious, and that is what this language should be called. Well done, friend. So they are mermaids. The hostages are tied up with a thick rope, and Harry has no blade. I consider this to be a fail. Do you think that if Harry had time to prepare for this ahead of time, do you think he would have thought to bring a blade with him?
No. I think if Hermione had been around, she might have thought to bring a blade with, but I don't. And it's so funny because I know you guys mentioned on the show, I don't think the blade ever comes up again. I think this is the only time the blade ever comes up again.
It's like, well, wish it was here.
And it's because he doesn't have it.
Yeah, that's funny.
Well, he tries using it the one time and it melts. Because remember, the blade can pick any lock.
He does that in the Department of Mystery, right?
Yeah, he tries using it to open
What
the door.
a dumb thing to put in your book. I had to keep track of that knife. That's the thing. I, as a reader, had to keep track of that knife for nothing. Fuck that knife.
Just for to melt.
So I would say, like, here's the thing. He got woken up with 10 minutes. There is no way in hell he's going to have that knife. And so I think he was very clever. I think he found, like, he Boy Scouted that shit. He looked down.
He finds
he saw
a
the
sharp
rocks.
rock.
He was like, well, and first he was even smarter than that. He was like, yo, homie, let me check out that spear.
Yeah, let me get your spear, bro.
The dude's just like...
The guy was like, nah. And so
Which I wouldn't either. That's fair.
Right. Well, first of all, don't give children spears. Like, as a rule, don't give children spears.
That's a tweet right there.
So that Uncle Andrew with a little tidbit of the day right there. But no, like, I think he's actually pretty adaptive. It's pretty clever. He goes from the spear to like, well, what else do I have? I have rocks, and he finds one. So I'm actually going to give him pretty good points. I'm going to give him like a 7 on that, because he didn't have what he needed, but he found a way.
Okay.
Yeah, for the Boy Scouty, like, decision, he is a quick thinker in this situation. Mm-hmm. He sees what it is, and he's just like, okay, we just need to get them untied. Yeah. So, yeah, I'd give him a 7, maybe an 8, just for how quick he is with it. And he is resourceful. I go with a 7. That's where I'm going to land, because I don't know what. Like, I think it was smart to ask the mer guy for the thing.
Yeah, what if he just gave it to you?
We love giving people spears. Here, have one.
But, like, I don't think I'm going to ask a person holding a spear to use their spear.
Right, okay. Oh, I'll also give Harry a strong 7 for finding the sharp rock. He finds a sharp rock. He detaches his wand. The other champions are still nowhere to be found. So Harry is like, I have to take all of them because I am a Gryffindor and this is my flaw. This is my fatal flaw.
Yeah.
But the mer people are like, no, you can only take yours. You can't take anyone else's.
Well, and it specifically says that the moment that he went to try and get Hermione out, that pairs of hands grabbed him, which means if you were watching this from afar, when they saw him pick up the rock, a bunch of them started like slowly swimming up behind him, just in case he decided to go after someone else. No, but they were ready. They were like standing there like, and the moment that he went for Hermione, wham! No.
Shish kebab him.
So he's like, I'm not leaving without taking all of these people. Enter Cedric with the bubble head. Let's rate Cedric real fast. I'm going to give him a 10, right? Because it works fine.
Yes, because Cedric meant to be there. He came with the plan. He figured it out. He established a method, and he got there with a decent amount of time. Yes.
Yeah.
And he tried to figure out the egg more than 2 weeks beforehand,
Right.
and felt kind enough to share said information with Harry.
Right.
So, 10 overall for Cedric.
He gets an 11, actually.
Yeah, immediately upon a teacher being like, open that shit underwater, he goes, why, thank you, Professor. I'm going to go open this underwater now.
Yeah, I'm giving him extra credit. He gets an 11 out of 10. And he looks good doing it. He's like, Fleur and Crumb are on their way. I guess he knows they've been traveling in a pack. So Cedric takes Cho Chang and pieces out. Okay, cool.
With his knife that he prepared with, because he figured this shit out.
Right. He definitely was in Scouts if the UK has Scouts.
They
Wizard
do.
Scouts? Oh my god, I want to see...
Scouts. Lil Wizzy. Let's call them Lil Wizzies.
Listen, I know everyone wants to see the Marauders. That seems to be the prevailing idea of for the next TV show. No, fuck that. I want the Wizard Scouts. I want a group of 4 to 12-year-old wizards going on camping trips.
I did know they had Girl Scouts, and that's actually where the Girl Scouts originated, but both Scouts originated in 1908 in England. Mm-hmm. So they do have Scouts. There's a possibility. Imagine Dudley and Scouts. Now that's all I'm going to think about.
I'm good. I don't want to.
I was in rich Girl Scouts when I was a kid, because that was the age, and my family was only rich for 5 years, and that's when I did Girl Scouts. And I didn't learn anything. I learned how to do makeup and I don't know, other dumb shit. I didn't get to go camping or anything. And I think Dudley would be in one of those scout troops where they just kind of lump around, you know?
Letting girls join Scouts, the organization that is just Scouts today, is such a wonderful thing, because that's all I wanted to join when I was younger, was to be able to go and do fucking stuff in the woods. Mm-hmm. But that's not what Girl Scouts did. I only lasted 2 years in Scouts. I was from 1st and 2nd grade, and I just could not stand other girls so much that I quit Girl Scouts.
I vividly remember when my dad looked over at me and I said, Dad, why didn't I get to sign up for Cub Scouts? My dad looked at me and goes, did you want to do Cub Scouts? And I thought about it, and I was like, outdoors all the time, going camping. No, I did not. He's like, that's why we didn't sign you up. And it was a great day, because I realized my parents loved me.
Wow, can't relate. I asked to join the Boy Scouts instead of the Girl Scouts, and I was told by a parent that I was weird enough already.
My God.
I think I was 10, and I had a couple friends who were still doing Boy Scouts, and I was like, that looks fun. Y'all look like you're learning some shit over there.
Yeah, most of my friends, or I shouldn't say most, a lot of my friends in high school were Eagle Scouts. They stuck with it to the end. Good for them, but... Okay, yeah. Cedric is a Boy Scout.
Next, enter Crumb. Victor Crumb. He has a shark head, so the mer people get scared. Let's rate? Is it rate or rank? It's rate, because rank is against other... Okay. Let's rate Crumb's shark head.
Head of shark, do.
I'll give him a 6 for the attempt and getting it. And it works. He is able to accomplish what he needs to with what he did. Mm-hmm. But obviously points off for the half-formed... It's just Maui.
It looks very silly in the illustration.
It's just Maui from Moana.
Yeah, it is Maui.
The other thing I'm taking off for is a shark just doesn't seem useful when you need to possibly grab another person. As we see here.
So if it had
so-
like worked fully, it would have been dumb.
Yeah, it wouldn't have worked.
Interesting. I wonder what he was planning to do about that. Maybe he was also desperate for any solution to this puzzle.
Nah, Kharkov told him exactly what was going on, and I guarantee they practiced that time and time again.
Yeah. They did see Victor Crumb diving into the lake in January.
That is true. Preparing for that cold.
Yeah, it's shocking. Andrew, did you rate the shark head?
I did not. I think I'm going to give the shark head... I'm actually going to go lower than... I'm going to go like a 4. Because it's only by luck that like the right half of him transfigured, right? Like there's every chance it could have been Crumb's head with like the quickest tail, but needing to dive down to the bottom of the lake in 10 seconds because he can't hold it. You know, he doesn't
You
have
wouldn't be able to do
skills.
the pressure.
Right,
Yeah,
like,
that's what would have.
it's pure luck that he got the right half. And so I'm giving him like a 4.
It's so crazy how deep this lake is. It gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, I
It's
don't like deep
under
water.
so much water, and there's so much stuff down here, and I wish that it was empty instead, but it has so much stuff.
I couldn't do this task because I have terrible sinuses. If I dive more than like 5 feet, my head feels like it's going to pop.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Listeners, don't dive into a 5-foot pool. That's how you die. I just want to put the warning out there. Don't do that. You need at least 6 feet of water.
Okay, that's your PSA in February.
Hey, there's a lot of polar plunges going on right now, Christina. I don't know what you're talking about.
We hates it. I'm going to give Victor Crumb a 7 because I'm actually going to give him an 8 because he had good luck. Good for him. Good luck, Crumb. And like it turned out really effective. And he has arms and gills, and like that's really all you need to like. You need like something to paddle and something to breathe. That's really all you need in this task, and he has both. But that being said, he does start to like gnaw chaotically at Hermione's rope.
No, he would have not only failed, he would have killed Hermione if it wasn't for Harry.
It's just so ridiculous because I for sure, if I were Crumb, would have asked for Harry's rock. Like, you like this bitch, and like you're nice, and you're just standing there like a dumb fucking idiot. Give me that that sharp rock you have.
What sharp rocks you have.
I need your rock, bro. Okay, finally Harry. Oh, so that he swims away, Victor Crumb. So finally Harry pulls his wand, and the wary mer people are like, "Oh no, a wand!"
And I got really uncomfortable here.
Why?
Because I don't like the level of intelligence that the mermaids have, combined with them having such a primal existence and then such a like lesser than human reaction to the wand. I don't know. It got real weird real quick for me. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but it seemed like...
No, I get you.
No, it's just the full racism that is written
it's
into all of
racist
these
as
books.
fuck. It's like, it's this belief in these savages that are like living under the water and like, magic, you know, it's fucking gross.
It is the classical savage character is exactly what they did here. It's an area that's unexplored overall, people you don't know. It's even worse, I would say, than the giants, because at least you can interact with the giants on a regular basis if you so choose. But you need a special fucking spell or gillyweed to be able to interact with these. So it takes this pretty much this colonial take on this, and you think they dumped their shit into their home.
Yeah.
Literal shit.
I want to know if they were there before Hogwarts. Like, had there been a mer?
Oh God, yeah. Well,
I'm
how
sure
else would
they
they
were.
get there? Because like, and the other part is she goes to an extreme length to like describe their statue that they carved as like crudely carved out statue. Fuck you.
Yeah.
You know, like they've had thousands of years. I'm sure their statue looks just the fucking way they want it to.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I am gonna put the brakes on this conversation. I think we've made our point very clearly, and I think we continue to make this point very clearly throughout the entirety of this book series.
yes.
If you're writing like humanoid races with humanoid intelligence, you have to treat them with like humanoid respect, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like you can't do that halfway. And that's that. So finally, with the sharp rock, Harry gets Ron and Gabrielle and he starts swimming away. Let's rate Harry getting his friends away and swimming away. Let's rate him on his not the top part yet. We'll rate that separately. But like the getting them out of that situation, scale of 1 to 10, Andrew.
Is this rating him for sticking around the whole time, essentially? Is that what we're going for?
It's up to you. It's your own interpretation.
Okay. Because I'm going to give him a 6 only because I probably would have made the same stupid decision at that age and honestly thought like, well, they're not going to keep up. I'm going to make sure that everyone gets free. So like, I understand, but it's still a dumb move. And like, you only have a certain amount of time and you don't know how long that gillyweed's going to last. So like, honestly, you really shouldn't have stuck around at all. But so like, I'm going to give him the 6 just because it all works out in the end. And
for sheer dumb luck.
Basically, yeah, I'm going to give him like, instead of a gentleman C, I'm going to give him a McGonagall 6. Like for sheer dumb luck, you're going to pass.
Okay, Taylor, what about you?
Yeah, I'd put him around a 5 for similar reasons. I think for me personally, listeners, you might know that I have approximately 1 billion siblings.
Yeah, I've counted once and it was 1 billion.
It was it's like 14 or 15. I don't know, I lost track. But anyhow, like if it were one of my sisters, I think I would have grabbed her and gone. Because I would have been like, fuck, this is my sister. If it was one of my friends, not that I don't love you all, I think I would have done what Harry did and stuck around more. Because I was like, okay, I feel like we're similar ages, like we'll figure it out. But if I was like Fleur and it was my younger sister, fuck yeah, I would have grabbed her and been out of there. I give him a 5 just for he completes he completed the task. He got all the way there. He got Ron free. He just has an extra baggage along with.
I don't think it's unreasonable that Harry is like, these people are going to die if I don't rescue them. Because, like, Hermione and Ron are like, how could you think that they would die just because they weren't rescued? That's crazy. But, like, Harry, I mean, this school is absolutely bananas.
Yes. You can't blame Harry for assuming that they might willingly sacrifice a few lives to the merfolk. Like,
they're willingly sacrificing Harry to the Triwizard Tournament against his consent. So I'll give him a 6 as well for sheer dumb luck. So without hands, because he's holding Gabrielle and Ron, he's like swimming to the top with just his like flipper feet, and the mer people are following him. I guess because he's the last one. I guess they were gonna follow no matter what. The lake's like lightning, but he's like really running out of strength. He's cutting it pretty close, like maybe only as close as maybe like a protagonist could survive this, because we really need them for the story.
We all agree that there is no chance in hell he is swimming straight up. Like, he's definitely still swimming at an angle, right? Like, Harry's that type of special idiot that like would still be like, I can make it, and like he's at an angle and it's like, bro, you're like 10 feet below the water, just like aim up, just straight
in his defense, it might be harder for him to swim straight up with the finned feet and also dragging 2 people. So, like, it genuinely might be harder for him to propel at an angle. Although, if he had regular feet and wasn't carrying people, yes. But I don't know. I think there might be some physics involved that I don't understand because I don't science.
I mean, I would definitely go straight to the light, and my dumb ass would probably drown.
Well, I mean, straight to the light's the way you need to go, though. Like, straight. I've been snorkeling. Like, when you have like flippers on, it like swimming straight isn't any more difficult.
Oh no, I'm just saying I would probably drown no matter what. If
I
personally were in this scene.
At 14, yeah, I'm fucking up. I'm dead. I try to steal the spear, and I end up getting killed by the merfolk.
You get kebabbed.
So he doesn't drown. He doesn't die. Harry Potter finally makes it to the surface. And Ron is like, you stupid prat. Like, why did you bring this bitch? Basically, like, immediately. Before we were even sure he's conscious, he's saying these things to us.
Ron's like, oh, you always bring other people to our special moments. Okay, that's fine.
Okay, this might be our final rating. I'm not sure. Let's rate his ascent from the mer people to the surface. Taylor.
I'll give him a 6 once again for that luck aspect. He just made it. But I give him a 6 because, I mean, once again, that endurance, like, I'm sure adrenaline was the only thing getting him through. Yeah. And imagine, actually, I'll pose this question at the end.
Okay. Save it for later. Put it in your pocket. Don't forget about it. Andrew, what's your rating for his ascent?
Like I said, I have nothing canonically to support this, but I just imagine that he's just trying to main character it out and is swimming at like a 45-degree angle and is like dramatically trying to reach up. I'm going to give him the 5 because he makes it, but like I just know he's doing it wrong. And I can't explain that, but I just know in my bones that he's doing it wrong.
That's valid. I'll give him an 8 for not dying. Congrats.
Good job, buddy.
So they're like swimming to shore. Percy comes splashing out to meet them. It's kind of cute. He's kind of worried.
He's very cold.
It's the only time in this entire fucking series that I like Percy. The rest of the time, I think he can die.
He does like have just a couple moments like this of babying his siblings, and it's adorable. Oh, and then there's the moment when he blushed because he was talking about Penelope Clearwater. That was a humanizing moment. Mm-hmm. So Fleur Delacour shares that she was attacked by Grindylows on the way down. I forgot that we do need to we need to rate her performance on a scale of 1 to 10. Andrew?
I'm going to give her like a 2 because this girl badmouths Harry talking about how he is too young, which like she's right, but like, okay, he had the same problem and he did fine.
Right.
And you encountered that problem and it ended your quest for your Gabrielle. So like, I can't reward that. She gets like a 2.
Okay. Taylor, what about you?
I'll give her a 3 because it sounds like her charm was successful enough to like function underwater and everything and get her to that point. But then, yeah, like she doesn't succeed in any task beyond that. But I also wonder, like, how in that situation does the bubble head, could it pop? Like, the Grindylows could pose a really serious issue when it comes to a bubble around your goddamn head. So, I don't... And that also brings me to another thing. It's dark under the lake. Like, you get a few feet down and light's gone because that's how water works. Mm-hmm. Obviously, sharks can see underwater, so Victor's crumb is fine. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna assume something with the gillyweed would probably help Harry see. Yeah. But does the bubblehead charm help either Cedric or Fleur?
We don't know of any other illumination, or it's not mentioned that there's anything special going on with Cedric when he gets down there. So I'm guessing that there's a thermal property at work as well, like the temperature gauge. I think it's probably like the gillyweed. It's the magical package. Like if you do the bubble charm, you get everything.
Yeah, that was just something I literally just thought of. So, 3.
Yeah, I'm gonna give her 4. I think that it's right to cut it in half if she like does it right but doesn't get it done. 4 out of 10 for Fleur. So Madame Pomfrey is like all over everyone, giving them pepper up potions to warm them up and wrapping them up like burritos.
Has anyone else gotten incredibly jealous of pepper up potion?
It sounds great, but it's kind of like a hot toddy.
But like, I just imagine that the steam coming out of your ears has to like be so refreshing. Yeah,
and maybe if it comes out of your nose a little bit too.
Oh yeah, if it like clears out all your sinuses.
I was like, do you think like if you had like an earwax blockage, like that'll just like Yum.
The gross side of pepper up potion that everyone just agrees not to talk about.
It's hot.
Andrew and I went on two separate directions. Andrew went on like the soothing one, and I was just like,
I mean, I'm thinking the same thing though. Like that's what I'm talking about is clearing
just
out
everything is clear.
Like,
All right, that's quite enough. Hermione has a water beetle in her hair.
Oh, what a surprise. Oh, I don't know. Why are these beetles showing up? Oh, no.
That's Rita Skeeter getting a nat 20 on her stealth check.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, say she is in my top 3 least favorite characters, up there with Percy. I will add.
I don't know why my dumb brain was like Percy Jackson.
Yes, Percy Jackson.
How dare you?
He's the worst character of the Harry Potter series.
My brain is so dumb.
Mainly for his lack of doing anything.
God, I would take Percy over Harry 100 times.
Mostly out of his lack of, existing. That's the worst part.
Yeah.
But, like, you gotta give it to her. Her stealth.
Yeah,
like,
it's incredible.
She's very creative with how she gets her shit done.
Mm-hmm.
Is it terrible? Yes.
Yeah.
But she gave her
Terribly
credit.
effective.
Okay, so next in the chapter, Fleur Delacour kisses Harry and Ron on the cheeks. I'm gonna give these kisses. I'm gonna give Harry's kiss a 3 out of 10, and I'm gonna give Ron's a 2 out of 10. I don't feel like I need to explain myself. No, it's score time though, and Dumbledore's like chatting with the mer people, and the mer people are like, "Here's what happened."
Most Dumbledore move of all time, just casually flex your ability to speak mer people.
Right.
At the side of
Mermish,
a lake. Like,
it's Mermish.
Just walking down, like, excuse me, really quick. Yes, well, this is what happened.
Yeah, so the judges deliberate, and then it's decision time. So here's what the scores were. Out of all of our ratings, here's the professional's opinion. It's points out of 50. Fleur Delacour got a 25 out of 50. I wrote in my notes DNF. That's what us book people say when we can't finish a book. That's a DNF, did not finish. It's probably another stuff too, like sports.
I was going to say, if you watch the Olympics happening right now,
DNF.
that comes up a lot if they,
It's for
wipe
books
out.
only. Cedric Diggory, 47 out of 50. He got back 1 minute late, but everything else was perfect. I think he should have gotten a straight up a 49 out of 50 for 1 minute late.
Well, and there's also the argument of, like, if he comes back first, then he sets the time, right? Like,
they had a time. They had a 1
They had
hour
a time limit, but if everyone misses the time limit, that's a symbol of a bad time limit, not necessarily a...
Wow, that is not how this world works. It's wizards, dude. Okay, Victor Crumb got a 40 out of 50. He did some kind of incomplete but effective transfiguration, and he was, like, kind of well outside the time limit.
Yeah, once again, you take 3 points off for the first minute, and then the next set of minutes is, like, what, 1 point each?
I
for
guess.
The next 2 hours or so?
Yeah, I guess. So Harry gets a 45 out of 50 for, get this, moral fiber. Because he didn't want to leave the other hostages. Does this chapter ever use the word hostages? But they are hostages.
Oh, no, it says literally right in that
Okay, good.
in there
Okay, good.
that Mr. Potter was first to reach the hostages and not the way.
I don't keep my book in front of me because it's too big, and I actually tried to this episode, and halfway through the episode it fell down to the floor because it's really heavy, and I'm definitely going to edit that out. But I did try my best. So Harry and Cedric are now tied with these completely arbitrary points. They are arbitrarily tied. For what? Who knows?
Find out later.
Find out later. Find out on June 24th.
This whole thing is just dangerous. Whose line is it anyway?
Yeah.
I have to see if June 24th. Oh, it's a Friday. That's okay. Can't have everything. Can't release that episode on June 24th. It would never happen.
You could drop it early.
I actually think we'll be done with the book by then.
Oh, yeah.
I think we'll be way done with the book by then. Yeah, because we're starting some bonus content on June 1st. Okay, but anyway.
My birthday.
That's a spoiler. That is your birthday.
Woo! Everything's a birthday. Yay. Woo.
Everything's a birthday. Everything's a birthday when you have a lot of friends.
When you have enough friends. Every day's a birthday. Every day's a birthday when you have enough friends.
It do feel that way, though. It do feel that way. So that's the end of the chapter. Taylor, is there anything that we missed or any themes you want to drive home or favorite moments you want to highlight before we move on to plugs?
Oh, I'm going to pose my question.
Oh, yes.
How do you think this would have played out? Not even if Harry had figured out the answer earlier. Say he still only found out about the gillyweed the day of. But if he had a good night's rest, do you think he would have made a different decision when he got down there?
No, I don't think he would have. I think he would have done the exact same thing.
He is not Batman. Preparation doesn't matter too much for Harry Potter.
I think if he'd had like a week to prepare, or even like a day, like 2 days maybe to prepare, I think he could have come up with like a lot of different things to do to make it easier for him.
The biggest thing he could have done that would have changed his score is if he had enough time that one of his friends would be like, by the way, just to grab one, right? Like, don't wait around if you get down there and everyone else is still there. You're not going to do that, right, Harry?
What if he had time to come up with a better outfit? not aerodynamic. What's the word?
Like a wetsuit.
Hydrodynamic.
Yeah.
I'm very smart. A wetsuit.
Hydrodynamic.
Taylor, what do you think? If he was well rested, how do you think it would have changed?
I think that like his decision at that point would be the same, but I think he would have fought harder to get them out from the mer people sooner.
Yeah, he does just kind of sit there like an idiot. He's having a little nap. He's tired. Power nap.
Just going to float with my eyes open for 30 seconds.
He's in what are those like
the tanks.
Like sensory deprivation tanks. Yeah. Just at the bottom of the lake trying to chill before finals, man.
Like you do.
Andrew, did you have any final thoughts or anything else?
No. He's just...
Okay, good.
No,
it's okay. We've been talking for a long time. This was the second task. We did it. This was our 100th episode.
Woo!
Confetti.
Congratulations, Tina. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Someone in the background like, oh, you don't have to make a speech for this. And I'm like, no, I do. I feel like I have some words to say. I just fucking love this podcast. I love hosting this podcast. I love all of the friends that I get to talk to all the time through this podcast and all the friends I met through this podcast. And I love you, each and every one of our beloved listeners, because you're the only reason. You're the only reason. I mean, who would make a podcast for no one to listen to? So we're eternally grateful for you. And thank you to everyone who's listening and participating, for being around for up to 100 episodes. And we do have at least 100 more to go for sure. Like I mentioned, we'll be doing this podcast until 2025. 2025. This is my identity. And I love it.
I think I speak for everyone, Christina, when I say you're welcome, and we're going to go right now to sign up on patreon.com and become a patron of the restricted section.
That is a great transition into plugs, because y'all know I always plug the Patreon first, and February's bonus episode covered the movie Horns, starring Daniel Radcliffe, and it's a really great movie and a really great episode, so I do recommend checking out our Patreon as a non-joke now. This is real. Check out the Patreon. Taylor, where can people find you? Where can people listen to you?
You can find me at Taylor from Cabin 6 on Instagram and Historical Femme, FEMME on Twitter. I posted twice, or I guess it's called tweeted, on Twitter recently.
You can stop now. Quit while you're behind, babe.
You guys, I don't social media a lot, but occasionally I come on to talk about Bo Burnham's inside. That's mostly what I tweet about.
It's your whole personality.
It's fine. I'm okay with that. You can hear me on Of the Eldest Gods. That is Of the Eldest Gods Pod on Instagram and Of the Eldest Gods on Twitter. We are finishing up book 2, Sea of Monsters.
Yeah.
And Tina was on this season. Leela will be on coming up.
And Grace, right?
Grace, Sam, all of your favorites from the Movie Night Crew Network.
Except Andrew. Come on, Taylor.
I've never been invited.
Andrew, I told you you're my dad's favorite, right?
Really?
Yeah, he was like, you know who my favorite person is on the podcast? And I was like, me? And he was like, no, what's that girl's name? And I was like, which one? And he described her, and I was like, that's Haley. And he was like, Haley's my favorite one. And I was like, okay, cool. And then he was like, and that guy. And I was like, well, that could only be Andrew. And he was like, yeah, Andrew, he's so sharp. And I was like, okay, do you have any compliments for me, your daughter? But no.
Andrew, have you read the Percy Jackson books?
I actually have.
Oh, what, you have?
See, we thought you hadn't. That's why we...
How many? There's like 5, right? 5?
Yeah, in the first series, yeah.
I think I've read all 5, I'm pretty sure. But in all fairness, it was a while ago, so I would have to kind of, Yeah, but no, I definitely, I'm very familiar with the series.
I will
did
say
not know that.
that's why we didn't ask you, because we didn't think you had.
I was actually like completely sure you hadn't. Who are you?
In fact, this is going to be the really fun part. I started reading them because when we first met in college, you were like, hey, have you ever read this series? And I was like, no. And you were like, well, you would probably like it. And so
I can't believe I recommended that to people.
Yeah, at least that's the way I
Not
remember
really-
it. Maybe
it's
I'm
not
wrong.
like my go-to recommendation.
Well, I
But now it
think
should
we had talked about, like, we had like crossed off the list, and you were like, you read that, and that. How about this?
Well, because as a reminder, I met Andrew because our mutual friend Kyle was like, Christina, I work with a guy who likes Lord of the Rings. You're going to love him. I'm bringing him to the party tonight. And that's turned into like a
6, 7, something like that.
7 year friendship.
Something like that, yeah. You put up with me for a while.
It's got to be longer than that,
No, well,
because it was when y'all were in college, right?
2013. Well, it was like your second to last year and my last year.
I've been with Sean for 6 years, and I have known you for longer than that.
It's probably 7.5 to 8 then, yeah.
A
I
strong
was gonna
8 years.
say it has to have been longer because
Yeah.
you guys were in college.
Hold on, I'm gonna scroll back up to the beginning of the episode, which was like 3 pages of notes ago. Scroll back. My true blue best good buddy, Andrew. Andrew, we always get drunk at parties and like hold each other and talk about how glad we are to be friends.
We reassure each other, like, I think we're best friends. You're like, I think we are.
That happened last weekend, and it's gonna happen next week. and
Undoubtedly.
maybe-
You can stick the watch by.
Wait, can I join? Can it just be the
absolutely.
three of us on the
Hop in
couch?
the group
Like,
hug.
I don't know. See, Tina and I, we're not known for like being touchy-feely when we're drunk, so you might get
It's
some
COVID,
opposition.
It's COVID. We don't touch and feel anything.
yeah, no. Yeah, so that's where you can find me. That's of the Eldest Gods. I will be seeing Tina and Andrew in our time this coming weekend, and your time the past weekend. My plug. We started watching Murderville on Netflix. The Will Arnett. Will Arnett is a murdered homicide detective, and he's paired with random celebrities to figure out the murder.
I did plug that, I think, just last week.
Oh,
It's
I didn't
it's
finish
very
the
funny.
episode.
It's okay,
Okay.
you're not being quizzed.
No, I will plug something else, and you can just scrap that. You know what? I'm gonna plug the same thing I plugged the first time I was ever on the show.
Wow. Throwing it back.
Throwing back to whatever chapter of Prisoner of Azkaban that was. All I know was we talked about ice cream, and Andrew was here too.
I just like, first of all, you're on 2 chapters, Leaky Cauldron, and that's the one you're talking about, and also the Patronus. And I accidentally do that all the time, where the same guests will come on twice, and I'll put them with the exact same other co-host. And I think it's just because I have like feelings about how people should get along, you know, and I'm like, this is a good group, you know?
Oh, fuck. Yeah, this is my 4th episode on.
It's actually your 5th if you include Of the Eldest Wizards
shit.
from over the
Yes.
summer.
Wait, does that mean
You're the
I
most
think
guested.
I won?
Most
for now.
guested, yeah, for sure.
now.
Unless you count Leela, who started as a guest and then wiggled her way into my heart and is now here forever.
So I'm gonna plug A Black Woman's History of the United States. It is.
I can second this plug.
It is our movie night crew network for book club. It's by Dana Ramey Berry. And
Wait, how can people get access to our book club? Just if they want to know.
You have to be a patron or tell me you love me so much, and I might add you just because.
That's
Those are your 2
patreon.com.
No, those are both valid options.
And you can get access to that through any of the network's Patreons. So that would be a restricted section of the Eldest Gods or My Cabbages. And I am leading this month. This month is more of a reflection because we are reading this book. If you don't remember from the first time I was on, it's essentially it's a book that takes these primary like eras of American history and looks at them from the lens of Black women, rather than just the specific white man narrative that we get all the time. And it's part of a series called Revisioning History, with a capital V, like the idea that we really should be looking at history from multiple lenses, not rewriting it, because that's what people think it is. And no, it's just, other
full
people
picture.
exist.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure it was just white people like me and white men like me.
Anyway, and I'm listening to the audiobook of it because I have trouble reading nonfiction and I'm really good at learning stuff auditorily, like podcasts. So Taylor, you mentioned this earlier in the Discord. It does feel like a podcast as I'm listening to it. So I think either of those options, whichever works best for you, are super good because this book has just a lot of good stories that are good to know, you know?
Mm. Yeah, and the book club is fun. We meet once a month, but we talk all throughout the month. This month, like I said, is more about reflection, but normally they're much more fun. Project Hail Mary being probably the most fun.
That was extremely fun.
Since we started in August. But yeah, come join us.
Oh, great. It's my turn. I'm Christina. You know where to find me. And Andrew, no, it's your turn. Andrew, I'm sorry. I was panicking because I was reading and I was like, oh no, what do I do next? Andrew, but you don't even want to be found on the internet. So what do you have to plug this month? What have you been watching, reading, listening to?
So I recently got Paramount Plus, finally. I actually always used to joke about it for a long time, but finally I was like, I guess I'll go ahead and try it. I'll be honest, I didn't realize this would happen, but it has Smithsonian Channel, which is basically like, for people my age, it's basically what History Channel and what used to be called National Geographic Channel. It's what that was before American Pickers and before like everything being about local like house cats and stuff, which is fine, but that's not, it's not like the African savannah and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
and I definitely don't need any more local house cat content in my life.
Yeah,
personally.
you've got plenty of that going on for you. So like I highly recommend checking it out. I've been absolutely demolishing Star Trek Discovery. I'm a huge Star Trek nerd, and so I hadn't checked that one out, and it's like 4 seasons deep, and I think I'm already like a season and a half in. But yeah, so Paramount Plus in general though is definitely my recommendation.
And if you like any of the old Nick shit.
Yes, that's
it's
all on there.
We were watching Chalk Zone the other day. So
oh my god, that's awesome.
All of SpongeBob's on there and stuff.
Yeah, I've been watching SpongeBob on something else recently.
Something else completely legal and fine.
No, I think it is actually legal. And everything I do is legal.
Of course. Of course.
My name's Christina. You know where to find me. This week I'm gonna recommend. Oh, I've been watching on Netflix Inventing Anna. It's like an expose TV show based on a true story about this. It's basically like the plot of Catch Me If You Can, but it's like this cool gal. It's a girl, so it's better, even though I love Leo. But it's basically that, like someone who faked it until she makes it, until she didn't make it anymore. You know what I mean?
Dun, dun. Well, stakes have been established, so now I'm
Yeah, that's Inventing Anna on Netflix. Wow, here we are at the end of our show. We've only been recording for over 2 hours. Taylor, thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful to you, and happy fucking birthday, babe.
Oh, it'll be so enjoyable. Joe better have gotten me my cake like I wanted. That's the only thing I asked for was a cake.
What else do you need, truly?
Yeah, really. I just want to like eat my cake in peace.
I just want one $700 custom cake. That's all I'm asking.
Gold flakes.
Yes.
And Andrew, thank you as always for being my trusty co-pilot.
It is always my pleasure.
I need to look up words that are synonyms to co-pilot, because I think I always say co-pilot. But
confidant.
My confidant, my comrade.
My consigliere.
They all start with the letter C.
I have a student who comes in every day, and he's always like, "Good morning, comrades," and that's how he greets us every day.
Oh, I had a weird little socialist phase too. Oh, that's cute.
Didn't we all?
Some of us might still be.
I was like, no, some of us didn't leave.
All right, gang. I have to go finish reading. Okay, I'm just gonna start. I have to go finish reading Old and Forgotten Bewitchments and Charms. I have to go finish reading Weird Wizarding Dilemmas and Their Solutions. Madcap Magic for Wacky Warlocks, an anthology of 18th century charms, Dreadful Denizens of the Deep, powers you never knew you had and what to do with them now that you've wised up. Is that it, or is there another book name in this? That might be it. There was a lot of good book titles in this chapter.
So listeners, pick your own and figure out which one went for you.
Yeah, what works for you? Wait, how could I miss this one? Saucy tricks for tricky sorts.
There you go. There you go.
I love that. Okay, bye. The Restricted section is honored to be a member of the Movie Night Crew podcast network, which features other excellent podcasts such as Of the Eldest Gods. Two friends question if Rick Riordan is truly their godly parent while rereading the books that changed their childhoods. From the Greeks to the Romans to the Egyptians to the Norse, Of the Eldest Gods lets them take their adult imaginations on a ride across the Percy Jackson series and beyond.
If you're listening to this, you also ignored the warnings of reading the Percy Jackson books.
Now that the monsters are after you, it'd be a good idea to come to Camp Half-Blood.
But more importantly than that,
You should listen to Of the Eldest Gods, a Rick Riordan read-along podcast.
join us as we talk about some semi-fucked-up history and mythology relating to each chapter.
As we reread the original Percy Jackson series again while trying to stay spoiler-free.
Or so help us, Zeus may curse the pod again.
Episodes out every Thursday wherever you get your podcasts.
The Restricted section was created by me, Christina Kann, based on the book series by J.K. Rowling. All music by Ryan Kahn. Logo by Michael Hardison. Support us on patreon.com/restricted section. For as little as $1 a month, you can gain access to our Discord community server, which is a really happy place to be. And there are other rewards as well, such as bonus episodes and Zoom happy hour hangouts. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Restricted Section Pod, on Twitter at Restricted Pod, and on Facebook at Restricted Section Pod. Also, feel free to shoot us an email at restrictedsectionpod@gmail.com to share your thoughts, feelings, complaints, conspiracy theories, or even lavish praise.
Dun dun da da dun da da da.
That movie sucked. I kind of liked it.
Movie Night Crew Network.